other evidence. You're okay to weigh it.
And then the court goes on to say that you should consider how the witness acted as well as what they said. Some things you consider are, and there are 10 things that the court reads to them that the jurors can use in formulating their opinion as to the reliability of the evidence.
Including, and it was explained during jury selection, in fact, one of the jurors, potential jurors, asked about bias, the potential bias of a witness. And that may not be that they're pulling for one side, but just their life experience, which may have created that bias, whether consciously or subconsciously.
Yes, and that's really in paragraph 4. I'll call it a paragraph, but in sentence 4, did the witness have some interest in how the case should be decided? Interest equates to bias, and we saw certainly in the witness yesterday, witness number 2, and we call him witness number 2 because that's how they were identified, and we can see in the graphic, did the witness have some interest in how the case should be decided? Certainly the defense would argue, and we'll get back to that. I see the sidebar's over.
All right, let's go back to courtroom 5D, but some interesting give and take inside the courtroom today regarding this witness that you're listening to, who lived, her back door opened up to where the shooting happened.
To describe the two people that you saw that night on the ground, correct?
Yes.
Okay. But at some later time that you saw some photographs which gave you an opportunity to then compare the two?
Yes.
Tell me what photograph, and I want you to describe it, you saw of Trayvon Martin that you used for comparison. Do you recall what that photograph was?
I believe it was the first shot of the picture that they showed in the news.
Would that have been, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
I believe it was bald looking.
And we're talking now about Trayvon Martin, correct?
I'm sorry?
Trayvon Martin, I asked you about Trayvon Martin.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking me to describe him.
No.
Oh.
We'll get to that in a minute, but here's what I want you to do. You've told us now that you've had an opportunity after the fact to look at some pictures that gave you an opportunity to make some comparison.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So now I would like to know what the picture of Trayvon Martin was that you used for comparison.
Oh, that's when he was on the hood, when I saw him.
Okay. So it was a picture of him with a hoodie on?
Yes.
And that was a face shot?
Yes.
And you saw him to be what?
I saw him to be...
Well, looking at that picture, that was just a face shot, wasn't it?
Yes.
And it was just a hoodie and the shoulders, correct?
Yes.
Maybe some of his chest?
Yes.
Sort of looking at the camera?
Yes.
Okay. That was the only photograph that you used for comparison purposes?
Yes.
So you had no idea how tall Mr. Martin was?
No.
Or how heavy he was?
No.
But simply from the fact that he looked in that picture to be whatever he looked to you, you thought that he was small? Smaller?
Yes.
Okay. And what picture... I'm going to try it this way. This is already in evidence, Your Honor. I think is the one we identified as... right here, 45, if I might. Let me have you take a look at this photograph. This is at 45. Just take a moment. Do you identify who that is?
Yes.
Was that cleaned up as he may have been? Was that the way George Zimmerman looked that night?
He was on the side when I saw him.
Okay. Talking about the size.
Well, he was wearing a jacket, yes.
That, matter of fact, that orange jacket right there, wasn't it?
I think so.
Okay. And that was the jacket that he had on when you saw him talking to your husband? Correct?
I know it's orange. I don't know if it's... Yes.
Okay. Looking at this picture, did you see any other picture of Trayvon Martin for comparison purposes when you compared that picture to the person you saw here? Do you see what I'm saying?
I saw Trayvon Martin picture.
In
I
the
saw
hoodie?
yeah,
Okay.
and I saw his picture.
And in your mind, then, knowing that there was a picture of Trayvon Martin in a hoodie, it was that image that you compared with this image to think that Trayvon Martin was smaller. Is that accurate?
That's how I compared it.
Right.
Maybe I am wrong. I don't know who's bigger now, but that's how I compared it.
That's okay. But it was based upon that comparison, a sort of a headshot and shoulders. I say headshot, I mean sort of taking a picture here. Whatever that, we're going to call it the hoodie shot, okay, for right now? Whatever that hoodie shot was, that was your comparison for identifying the size of Trayvon Martin as compared to George Zimmerman?
I also saw more than one picture of Martin.
Did you see the Hollister photograph where he had a red shirt with a Hollister on it?
I saw the one with him wearing a football.
Oh, okay. Where is it? And that was him when he was wearing a green football outfit?
I think so.
If you had to guess, what do you think his age was during that football outfit photograph?
I know he's 17.
He's 17 at the time of his passing. Do you know when that football photograph was taken?
No, I don't know.
So it is that football photograph, however, that you use for comparison purposes between who was the bigger person, that picture of Trayvon Martin in his football outfit, and a picture or an image similar to this one, number 45. That in your mind was the comparison?
Yes.
Okay. I mentioned a moment ago another photograph that has been distributed concerning Mr. Martin. I mentioned a Hollister photograph. Do you remember seeing that one? Red shirt with the word Hollister on it?
No.
If I might have a moment, Your Honor.
Yes, you may.
Okay, the debate again over the pictures that have been so widely seen on television. Again, the witness that's on the stand said that she determined the size of who was bigger based on those pictures. Mark O'Mara driving that point home.
And we haven't even gotten to the fact that that picture that she saw was of a younger Trayvon Martin. Where we are right now is the picture of Trayvon Martin was actually incomplete picture. I believe it was what's being referred to as the hoodie shot. That was about from chest high, wasn't it, head and shoulders. So that in and of itself, the defense is going to argue, was not a good basis in which to form an opinion as to a relative size, and then take that opinion and apply it to the positioning of Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin when she looked out there and saw just shadows.
And then she had referenced that the larger individual was what she thought was on top, as she has testified today. You've looked at some live pictures there of the Trayvon Martin family, Sabrina Fulton and Tracy Martin, back in court today. Also, we saw a little while ago a shot right behind the defense was Gracie Zimmerman in the white top with the pink blouse on, sitting right behind the defense table, again taking in everything that's happening in the quarters. But as it relates to these pictures, Bill, we still have not heard Mark O'Mara say, well, in the green football outfit, he was X age, and in the Hollister shirt, which she said she didn't see, he was this age, and the hoodie, she has not heard yet how old he was in those pictures.
No, she has not, and it'll be interesting to see, by the way, if O'Mara does give that information to this witness, or does he, now that she has identified that photograph and Zimmerman, the photograph that she used with Zimmerman, get into evidence at some other point in time the age of Trayvon Martin in that photograph, and then use it in final arguments to the jury.
Sidebar's over. Back to courtroom 5D.
For lunch, and we'll be back at, let's see, about 1:10. So, ladies and gentlemen, during lunch, please do not discuss the case amongst yourselves. Please stay seated. Just 1 minute. Do not read or listen to any radio, television. Do not listen to any radio, television, or newspaper reports about the case. Do not use any type of an electronic device to do independent research about the case, people, places, things, or terminology, and please do not read or create any emails, text messages, Twitters, tweets, blogs, or social networking pages about the case. Do I have your assurance you'll abide by these instructions? If you'll please put your notepads face down and follow Deputy Jarvis. Okay, Ms. Nanalo, we're going to break for lunch, and you're free to go around as long as you're back in this courtroom by 1:10. But you cannot discuss your testimony with anybody, and that includes the lawyers or anybody else, because you're considered to still be on the witness stand. Do I have your agreement that you'll abide by that instruction?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you may be excused till 1:10. Is there anything we need to take up before we recess for lunch?
No, thank you.
I need something from you from yesterday, so
Yes.
if I could have that. And ladies and gentlemen in the audience, I really appreciate the fact that you're very courteous and standing up, but when I'm trying to instruct the jury and I have people standing up at different times, I don't know if they're hearing that. So if I could ask, when I'm finished with my instructions, you may stand up at that time as they're going out. Thank you for being respectful. Court is in recess.
1.5 witnesses testified so far this morning. We'll continue our live, continuous coverage here on Channel 9. Bill Schaefer with more analysis of what is playing out in courtroom 5D. But right now, we'll get you caught up on the rest of the day's news and the latest from the court happenings in the Zimmerman murder trial on day 12. Right now, here's Eyewitness News at noon.